Brandee Evans plays Mercedes in P-Valley. I'm at Noble Gold Derby, and I want to kick things off by asking you, what was your favorite scene in season 2, Brandee?
Oh, my favorite scene of season 2. That's a hard one. I had so many favorite scenes. You know what? It's probably going to be episode 7 when I'm with Azaria, who plays Terica. And I just love everything about that scene, especially when we go to the clinic. I love that Mercedes is giving her daughter agency to make the choice over her own body. I love the scene that you told me my favorite scene. I have seen.
That's fine.
I love the part when we're at the door, that specifically at the door when Mercedes is telling her that, she wishes that, she could have been a better mom to her.
Yeah. How do you think Mercedes developed or grew as a character over season 2? What are some things you got to do different, or how did she evolve?
You know what? You got to see her away from the club a lot. So you got to see how she works as a businesswoman, which was wonderful to see. And to see also that Mercedes is still smart, because it looks like she got really caught up this season with the relationship with Farrah and Coach. But then at the end, you notice that she's like, no, this was business. And you see where she went to get her new gym. She got her daughter back. So it was just a wonderful arc to see her in a different space than just trying to kind of controlling the ladies at the club, and also even her own self. So a beautiful journey for Mercedes this season.
What was the biggest challenge for you, Brandee, as an actress?
As an actress, the biggest challenge, I think always just making sure that I do the character justice. That was a really big deal to me this season, especially being able to tap into being a mother and wanting to see things differently, especially when you talk about generational curses and things that Mercedes had to challenge herself to do differently than her mother, Patrice. So for me, it's actually tapping into the authenticity of the character. It feels really good when I hear ladies that are in this profession say, hey, y'all got it right. So very excited about that.
I just, before I start speaking with you, chatted with Nico. And I said, it was lovely to talk to him. And I asked him if he had any questions for you, Brandee, and he said to ask you about those generational curses you had to break. And
wow,
there you go. Yeah,
that we are all in tune with each other, even when we are not around each other. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was just going to say, do you want to elaborate on sort of how through playing Mercedes you got to approach and break generational curses?
Absolutely. You know what? I can speak for my experience, especially in the Black community, when you're talking about the church as well. First of all, abortion is not an option. And so the fact that you see Mercedes giving her daughter this chance to make the choice over her own body, that is not normal in, our generation and our people in the South, specifically the Black community. A lot of times, sadly to say, the parents will just force them to do whatever and not give the child a chance to make that decision. So I believe that was beautiful that Mercedes was able to give her daughter the choice, but also be very honest and say, listen, do you want to go to the prom? Do you want to travel the world? So she's being honest, but she's also saying, but I got you, and we're going to make this work. And I think that that's an amazing step, hopefully for other mothers and daughters to see in the future that, yes, it doesn't always go the way we planned. And was it the best decision or was it the best situation for Terica to be in at that age? Absolutely not. But it's life. And sometimes it happens. So just be a good mother and support them. And I believe that's exactly what Mercedes did.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I think through playing this role, through this character, did you and approaching these, did you learn or gain perspective or empathy, or how did it affect you as a person dealing with these stories and these
the different stories, or the specific story with Terica and Mercedes?
It can be more broad if you want to. That's the story I was thinking of when asking about it.
You know what? It's so many different things. With season 2, with us tackling the pandemic, it let you see what was going on in other people's lives. You know, we knew what we were going through all across the world. We all were affected in some type of way. But in this situation with the Pynk, you see, because nobody really, you just kind of go to a strip club for fun, but no one stops to think, what happened to them? Like, no one's going to the club. So what are they doing to make money? So you're able to see that. You're able to see an education of how they may do a funeral in the South. New Orleans specifically, when you see in episode 1 with Uncle Clifford with the colors, that's very specific to our culture. You know, we might wear certain colors. So different things I feel like were learning lessons and beautiful things to learn from during this time. I didn't think about small businesses as much until we started filming P-Valley, and it's heartbreaking. I'm like, oh man, people really lost their businesses. And then when things started opening back up, I paid attention and I thought about what we had filmed when I went to try to go to my favorite restaurant, Taste, in LA, and it's closed. And I'm like, oh man, like they didn't make it through the pandemic. So it's really heartbreaking to see a lot of these things. And I know some people were like, we didn't want to see that all over again, but it's life and it happened to us. So it's kind of like Katori House says, kind of like our time capsule of that time.
Yeah, like also like you've actually, similar to Mercedes, done a bit of dance teaching and that sort of stuff in your time. Like, how does skills as a teacher sort of equip you as an actress?
You know what? I think the discipline, because Lord knows it was hard. It still is hard. I am still peeling from scars from P-Valley season 2. It's crazy hard. But you know what? It's the determination to get it. So for instance, even though the producers and showrunner might say, we don't need you to do that stunt, your double can do it, the dancer in me is like, I'm going to learn how to do it, you know? So it's just like, and that goes back to your part, Matt, about the authenticity of it. I want to feel authentic. So I got to have those scars. I got to have that feeling. And to me, it just doesn't do the character justice for me to be the OG that does these stunts and does these things. And then I didn't put in a little work, you know what I mean? So I bust my butt. All of the girls do as well. And it just reminds me of, if this was you dancing for Katy Perry again, what would you do? You wouldn't go to bed until you got the routine. So that's exactly the way I approach P-Valley. Oh, I'm not going to sleep until I get the stunt. Or if it's to a point where I'm like, okay, this is not a stunt that I'm going to do. I'm going to let my double do it. Okay, well, I'm going to be the best at everything else. So that's the dancer in me and that training that I got from dance that taught me that you don't give up, you don't get tired until they say cut.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's really good. There's a lot of drama in the Pynk. There's a lot of like sort of like heartbreak and tricky things going on. And like last time we spoke, Brandee, you also spoke about like some of the hardships in your own life
Right.
that sort of you've brought into this role, and it's helped inform it. How important is for you as a person, but also Mercedes, the role of hope amongst the drama and the heartbreak?
Oh my gosh, I think we all need hope amongst the drama and the heartbreak. And I think we spoke about this before. I've got my mom in the room next to me over here with a caregiver, you know, and it's drama all the time. We all have something going on in our life, but we got to hope for a better day. We got to hope for better things. So that's important to Mercedes, and that's important to me, because if we let that bog us down, then our dreams aren't going to come true. And the Mercedes knows that. Like, her dream is to get this gym and to get her daughter. And though she had the tribulation and the trials of that coach situation, you know, she did not want to do that. She did not want to do that. But there have been jobs that I didn't want to do as well, but I had to get my mom out that nursing home. So I had to do what I had to do. Mercedes had to get her daughter back, and she has to get this gym. So she's going to do what she's got to do.
Yeah. Also, like with the threat of the business closing and ownership of the business and all that sort of stuff in season 2, it really highlights the importance of that community and the relationships within that community. How did sort of in the real world, sort of with the impacts of certain relationships being threatened with COVID and social distancing and everything like that, and with your mum with you and things like that, how did that impact the relationships you were portraying on screen in P-Valley and the sort of importance of those relationships?
You know what? It was art. What is it? Art imitating life. in a sense. So I was filming P-Valley and flying back once a month to check on my mom. But even with that, we're trying to keep our connection. They didn't let us stay together as much as we'd love to film it because it wasn't safe. So for instance, in the past, like me and Nico or Shannon and Ella, we'd all, Alphonse, we'd all go and just hang at each other's houses or do these things. We couldn't do that. And we lived in the same building, most of us. So for us to feel so separate, but apart, we had to come up with creative ways. So we were Zooming with each other. We were FaceTiming a lot. And it's like crazy because I'm like, you're downstairs, Shannon, but it's like, well, we got to Zoom because we're not supposed to see each other. We're quarantining. And then I think about that with my mom, like, well, I can't come home because, we're filming and I can't risk it because I got to make sure that the set is safe as well. So lots of FaceTime, Zooming, and just bringing that energy and that emotion to everything. So for example, when you see Mercedes sitting there with her girls with the laptop and they're just like, hey, you're checking in, that's normal. How many Zooms did you do during the pandemic where like everybody got, you're like, wait, I cannot hear you. You be quiet. Wait, what? What's happening? And then we're like, oh, well, we can't hang out. Yeah, we can't. So it's just the same type of feeling I believe that we saw on TV that we were all feeling in the real world. And then when we did sneak and hang out, what happened? We got sick. So that's the real life of what's happening, even on the TV show and in real life. So very authentic.
Did like sort of being separate a bit more from each other while filming, did that add a bit of energy and like, I don't know, like energy when you actually did get to act together? Like there's stuff bottled up that.
Yes, you have no idea how many times they were like, y'all, let's go. Because I'm literally like, Nico or Shannon, girl, I ain't seen you. And then I want to see Biggie, Elarica's dog. So we're like catching up with each other. And they're like, Brandee, Shannon, we need y'all on set now. And we're like, okay, bye, I love you. So, but when we did have those moments on set, it was beautiful because it just felt like I really haven't seen them since season one. Season one, we're around each other to the point where we're like, we're sick of each other. And season two, it just feels like we didn't really get to see each other as much as we wanted to.
Yeah. Do you reckon, like, did it have impact on the scenes when the camera was rolling too? Like, just like that there was that,
it was
like,
beautiful. It felt like playtime. It felt like playtime. Like I haven't seen you. So usually like you try things out with each other, maybe in person, some of us. And so in this moment, it was just like, wait till you see what I do next, action. Like it was like a moment of just like playing back and forth with each other, bantering, really fun.
And you had to go separate again. You might be, oh, can we do a few more takes?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the worst would be when they were like, we got it. We're like, are you sure? Can we get one more?
Oh, so what are you most appreciative of with this community and this experience of being on the P-Valley cast?
You know what? Opening my mind. I seriously feel like a more open-minded person from having been on P-Valley, having watched the fans react to it, getting messages from fans that are saying like, in the LGBTQ plus community, like my parents didn't, accept me, but then we watched P-Valley and now they do. And like, that's so touching. Or to hear from girls that are like, my mom watched this episode and, she's giving me a choice now, like beautiful. But then it sucks because of certain places, because of the world, as you know, they don't have that choice. Women don't have that choice. But just beautiful replies from our fans and the growth that I feel like I've had as an actor. And as a person. P-Valley grew me up as an actress for sure. It was like nobody can prepare you for P-Valley. I feel like if I can do P-Valley, I can do anything. I pledged P5P, as we say. And I can do any job. If you can survive P-Valley, you can survive anything.
I like that. How have you gone at following Rule 24.5?
No crying at the Pynk. I definitely cried. I had so many tears at the Pynk, but we pull it together and we get back up as we always do.
Yeah. What do you think the show and Mercedes says about sort of strength and weakness and what's strong and what's weak?
What's strong and weak about Mercedes?
Yeah. Well, I think what she's a very strong character, at times a vulnerable character. Where is her strength?
You know what? Her strength, I think her strength comes from not wanting to be like her mother. No one's ever asked me this question. Wonderful question, Matt. I think that she sees that, especially you see that in season 2, where she wants to do better. She loves her, but she knows that she can do better. And she doesn't want the same life that her mother had, be it as a mother and be it as occupation. Like she wants to go and get it. Because even with Patrice, you really see her fighting for her dream too. She didn't really get what she wanted. So I feel like Mercedes is like, okay, I see what's happened around me. And that's where that strength is coming from, breaking the generational curses.
There you go. Breaking this, that's what it's all about. Breaking those generational curses.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's helped you in your life break generational curses?
Oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. My family, friends, everyone. And I come from a very Southern Christian family as well. So there have been times when growing up, and they know I'm saying it, if y'all see it, I said it. There have been times where our family has been a little closed-minded. So I think that this show has helped as well. I've never been closer to my family. I can tell my father anything. And growing up, I didn't feel like I could say that to him as, a preacher, but I'm just like, yeah, daddy, so I got a sex scene with a woman tomorrow. Like I can actually be authentic. And he's just like, okay, well, that's the character, right? All right, well, dig into it. He doesn't really know what to say much more than that, but he's just like, this is your job. You know how I raised you, you know what to do and be a good person. I'm like, okay, daddy. So yeah. But I love that it's not the closed-mindedness that I felt like I had growing up, where it was kind of like, that's wrong. Just everything is wrong. And I love that P-Valley is opening up people's minds.
Well, I think no better way to end this chat than talking about those intergenerational curses. Brandee, thanks so much for chatting with us. People watching this interview can go to goldderby.com to make their own award predictions, and all the best of luck for all the TV awards that we have in the pipeline and for the Emmys next year, Brandee.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank y'all so much for having us on here, P-Valley. We love y'all. We've been waiting to talk to y'all. When they told me Gold Derby, I was like, yes, we're back.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, it's great to chat again, Brandee. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.